Okay, so for day 3, I'm doing shoulders and triceps, and then this day is just a lot about control and stability. So for all of these exercises, I'm doing 3 sets of 10 to 12, just however many I can do for each set, and then I'm also increasing the weight with each set, just like the other 2 days. Okay, so for my first exercise, I started off with an overhead press. So here I'm just pressing the weight straight up while keeping my core tight so that I don't arch my back. This movement requires full body stability. This is one of my main upper body pushing movements, and it's targeting my shoulders while also engaging my core for stability. So here I start by holding the weight at shoulder level with my hands just outside my shoulder width apart, or just outside of shoulder width apart. My palms are facing forward, and I'm keeping my elbows slightly in front of the bar or the dumbbells, whichever I'm using. I use dumbbells for this one. But before I press, I make sure that my core is tight and my back is neutral. So I'm just trying to get like the best form possible to prevent injury. So, and it also helps me not rely, it helps me not arch, but also not rely on momentum. So then I press the weight straight up overhead until my arms are fully extended, and then at the top I keep the weight balanced over my head and in line with my body. So as I lower the weight back down, I do it slowly and with control, bringing it back to shoulder level while keeping tension in my shoulders. Once again, slow and controlled movements. Then next I did upright rows. So here I'm pulling the bar toward my chest and leading with my elbows. So for upright rows, this is one of the main upper body pulling movements that mainly targets my shoulders and my upper back. So I start with holding the weight in front of my thighs with my hands closer together, about shoulder width or slightly narrower, whichever you prefer. But my palms are facing my body, and from here I pull the weight straight along my body, leading with my elbows instead of my hands. So my elbows should go higher than my wrist as I lift. I bring the weight up to about chest level, not too high, to avoid putting any stress on my shoulders. So then, once again, I slowly lower it back down with control. One of the big things that I'm trying to focus on is keeping the movement smooth and controlled, and once again, not using any momentum or swinging of the weights. The next thing I did lateral raises. So I just lifted the weights out to the side to target my shoulders. I had the dumbbells and I just lifted them out. These are lighter because I can't really do heavy with these, but I'm focusing on control and once again not swinging the weight. So for lateral raises, this is more of an isolation movement that specifically targets my shoulders. I start by holding the dumbbells at my sides with a slight bend in my elbows. My palms are facing inward, and I keep my posture upright and my core engaged. So from there, I raise my arms out to the sides until they reach about shoulder height. I'm focusing on leading with my elbows slightly, and not just swinging the weights up. So at the top, I pause briefly, then slowly lower the weights back down with control. One of the big things that I'm focusing on is, once again, slow and controlled and not using momentum, because then that'll just take away the tension from my shoulders. Next, I did front raises. So here I'm lifting the weight in front of me, again focusing on controlled movement. So for the front raises, this is another isolation movement, but this time it mainly targets the front part of my shoulders. I start by holding the dumbbells in front of my thighs with my palms facing my body. I keep a slight bend in my elbows and make sure my posture is upright with my core engaged. So from there, I raise the weights straight up in front of me until they reach about shoulder height once again. So here I'm focusing on lifting in a controlled way, not swinging the weights or using momentum. Then I slowly lower them back down, keeping the tension in my shoulders the whole time. So finally, I finish off with tricep extensions. Here I'm extending my arms fully and controlling the weight back down. To do it, I just hold the weight overhead and keep my elbows pointing forward and close to my head. From here, I'm slowly bending my elbows to lower the weight behind my head. Then I straighten my arms to bring it back up. The most important thing that only your elbows move. Your upper arm should stay still. This keeps the tension on your triceps instead of your shoulders. You should feel a stretch when you lower the weight and a squeeze when you lift it back up. So this day really connects to how the central nervous system and peripheral nervous system work together. So my brain is sending signals through the CNS and then through the somatic motor division of the PNS to control my muscles. A lot of these movements require coordination, especially the smaller ones like raises. That's where the cerebellum comes in. So it helps to coordinate and fine-tune my movements, just to keep everything smooth. So even though the weights may be lighter, my body's working hard neurologically to stay controlled and efficient.